When it comes to stretching the food dollar, the toughest place to do that at the grocery store on your grocery list is that right there, the protein, chicken, meat, even the fish. So when I'm out shopping and I see those BOGO deals, I pounce on them, whether it's the three that we just named. The other thing that I keep in mind is when we're looking at these chicken breasts, this is more than, well, the deck of cards, the old palm of the hand idea. So I'm going to show you how to take 3 chicken breasts, turn it into 6, save yourself a little bit of money, and still get all the protein that you need in your diet. First thing we'll do is we'll start off with our nice clean cutting board and one of our chicken breasts. Cindy, when it comes to chicken and or any protein, she likes it sketch free. So that means taking off the bits here where you got the fat that's left over, even all the way down to where the keel bone would attach, where it still has some of that fat on it. Peel that out and move it out of the way. And speaking of keel bone, always double check. Yeah, there's a little bit right there. Sometimes when these things are being cleaned in the processing houses, they may leave some of that keel bone. That's that cartilage that separates the breast in the chicken, you know, kind of up around the wing bone area. Neck bone's connected to the wing bone, I believe, in a chicken. But anyway, we clean it up, and then here's what we do. With a nice sharp knife, sharp being the key words here, most people get injured from dull knives versus that of sharp knives. I'm going to remove that little piece of fat. But here's what you do. We're going to take it and right down, starting at the fat end, and we're just going to slice this breast into, voila, 2 breasts. Now we have 2 that are still about the same size as the palm of your hand, so you get 2 good protein sources, or 2 good protein portions right there. And not only that, what was $10 for 3 now seems a little bit more reasonable at, well, $4.99, and at least you're getting 6. Since we got a little extra time, here's what we're going to do. We'll do a couple of flavors when it comes to the chicken. This one's going to be more of a south of the border. So basically you've got a little chili powder. I've also got some cumin. I love cumin, as well as some garlic powder. And it never hurts to add a little bit of salt. The other ones, I'm just going to do a real easy traditional, more of a provincial, kind of a, we'll call it French country type. So we'll hit it with some salt. When it comes to salt, I'm a fan of kosher. I like it because even if your fingers are a little bit wet, it doesn't stick to it. I don't use much of the tube variety salt. You know what I'm talking about, the kind that's the little girl in the umbrella. Iodine, we get plenty of it in our diet if you eat a healthy diet, so I don't need the iodine source from being there. But it does need some pepper on this one. And this one, I like it. It's really simple. It's an easy salt, pepper. This one, you know, you got to go ahead and make up your own little south of the border spice blend. But you'll see that it comes together, gives beautiful color. This one just goes together and, well, it eats just like an old country meal. So let's go ahead and move to the next step, which is our veggies. When it comes to veggies, it's a good time to get to chopping and also practice your knife skills. A couple of important things: make sure your fingers are always out of the way of the blade. Remember, your knuckles here work as a pretty good tool to allow that knife to keep away from, well, getting into your fingertips. And one of the items that I love to chop up, the fungi, because it's pretty easy to chop and it gives you a chance to work on your easy chopping and or slicing techniques. Especially when they're nice and fresh like these, bright white. You can tell when mushrooms are fresh, by the way, when you turn them upside down. See how the gills, and if the stem was still in there, it fits nice and tight to it. When mushrooms get bad, this part here will open up and you'll see the exposed gills, and that's when you know that they've been sitting around a little bit. All right, we'll work from the left to the right here. We'll start off with the veggies. What we're going to do with our beans is first give them a little bit of flavor, and I'm talking about the black beans first. So before we put the onions in, let me talk about oil. I've got 2 different types here. I got grapeseed oil. This stuff does great over high heat. This is how I'm going to cook the chicken, a little bit more vigorous heat. So that'll go into my chicken pan. Remember, I just put in grapeseed oil. The other pans I'm cooking over a low heat because, let's face it, these things out of a can are pretty much already cooked. So I'll use some olive oil here. I don't use olive oil when it comes to anything over medium heat. I just don't like the flavor. Olive oil takes on, to me, a kind of a weird taste once you get it too hot. So in one pan for our south of the border type of beans, we're going to add some onions. The ones that we just chopped, sliced, diced, and we did it without getting our fingers in the way. And onions, best friend, neighbor, and flavor buddy. We're going to add a little bit of garlic here. And just to soften those up before we add in the beans. Now the other dish, and it's one of my favorites, we've done it at the Publix Apron School quite a few times, that is just a can of garbanzo beans right on into, some people may call them chickpeas, right into a warm pan over low heat. All we're going to do is bring these just to a slow boil. But in the meantime, with our onions, get them coated in oil. Oh man, you can smell that garlic. Let's let those sit for a second. And then we'll add the black beans to these. For the sake of TV and time, we'll add them a little early. And we're not going to season these yet. We'll season them at the end because they've been soaking in that solution, so they're already a little bit of salt on them. All right, now back to our chicken pan. That's what I want. I want nice heat coming off of it. And we're going to cook both our provincial and our south of the border chicken in the same pan. So I want to go with the one, if you're doing it this way at home, I want to go with the one that's got the least amount of the pungent flavor. So I'm just talking about the one here with the salt and pepper. But whenever you're putting something in a pan that's got oil in it, especially a hot pan with oil, one of the tips, lay it away from you. So start by laying it down and away. The reason being, if I was to drop this and let it flop toward me, it has the potential to also push that oil over the edge of the pan and then on me. So let's put it down and lay it away. All right, with our chicken breast, golden, delicious, more importantly, cooked very quickly. We'll pull this off the pan. We're going to leave the drippings in there. Now, if this was really French, instead of using a fat-free and low-sodium chicken broth, we would be using something like a white wine and butter. But instead, what we're going to do here is we're going to deglaze the pan just with the chicken broth. Starting our little bit of a pan seasoning here. And then I want to go ahead and add some onion. I'm going to let that go in there because it's going to help to suck up some of that flavor. Onions absorb right up. And you know what else will absorb that flavor? The mushrooms. We're going to throw those in and soften them both over a medium heat. But in the meantime, these we're going to give a little special attention to. And I love it because the can, almost like it comes pre-made to do what we're going to do here. And that is turn our garbanzo beans into a little faux taters. So instead of going heavy on the potatoes, which also usually end up getting cream and butter, this is just going to come out of the can like it is. I also go with the low sodium variety. So what we'll do after we've started to fix them up, faux tater style, what we'll do is we'll taste it, see if we need to adjust the seasoning. But right now, the only thing they have to do is just come to a boil. I just want them heated all the way through. This is what we're going to do with our garbanzo beans. For right now, we're going to leave the liquid behind. I'd mentioned that the can basically comes pre-measured. I don't know if they do it or not on purpose, but it comes pre-measured to do exactly what we're going to do here. And that is scoop in our beans into our little chopper and a hopper. All right, once the beans stop moving, that means they've whipped as much as they can. Now it's time to add the liquid. And I mentioned that those fine people that put this in a can nearly pre-measure this whole thing. So watch what happens here. I'm going to turn this back on and slowly drizzle in the liquid. And that right there is it. Aside from maybe about a tablespoon of that liquid being left over, these things are good to go. Let's taste it here, see? Actually, that's awesome. Maybe just a little bit of pepper. Again, it goes to your liking. My dad's one of those types of people that when you put the food down, the first thing he does is salt it before he tastes it. And that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and put this one together. We're going to take you out to the provincial countryside. Now we're going to start off with faux taters. And that's basically, you could add some tahini to this, a little squeeze of lemon and some parsley, and boom, all of a sudden you've got hummus. But what we've done is we've made it a little bit more savory. So now we have faux taters, and we're going to take our, there we go, sauteed onions and mushrooms. We're going to put those on top, along with a little bit of that liquid that was left over in the pan, and our chicken breasts. I'm going to put both of them on the plate, but you can see that that would make two very nice dinners. Add a little salad to it, and voila, you're now on the French countryside. Now let's take you south of the border. While we have our chicken getting hot in the pan there, Let me show you the next part of this. In the attempt to continue to save and stretch our food dollar, I had some leftover white rice. Quick trip to the microwave, and it's ready to go. And it makes a perfect bed for my black beans. And then on top of that, we've got our seasoned south of the border chicken and a nice healthy, full of the good fat, and it goes so great with those spicy flavors, a nice ripe avocado. 4 meals out of 2 chicken breasts, and we're still doing it for about $4 to $5 a plate. When it comes to trying to help you stretch your food dollar, adding a little bit of culinary nonsense along the way, I think there ain't none better.